Hello, dear friends. This is Kira Rudik, member of Ukrainian parliament and leader of the political party Holos. I'm speaking to you from Kiev, Ukraine. Russia is asking for a ceasefire to conduct a military parade commemorating the victory in the Second World War. President Trump is threatening to pull US troops from Europe, and Europe is demanding to have a seat at the table where the future of Ukraine will be discussed. We will talk about all of this, but before we start, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment. I read them, I reply to them, and I take a great pleasure in communicating with you, my dear auditory. So, this week, there would be a military parade in Moscow on the Red Square. Why is it so important to Russia? Because celebrating Soviet Union's victory in the Second World War, or how it is called, Great Patriotic War, is one of the key narratives that Putin's Russia is built on. So Putin is not building Russia of the future. They're building and trying to rebuild the past, which was great and victorious and needs to be restored. It's either Russian Empire or Soviet Union, but generally all the narratives, everything that Russia is giving to their people right now is like were these magical times in the past, and we should work hard and fight to repeat them. So victory in Second World War was this key event. Nothing of comparison ever happened, because the truth is that most of the wars that Russia participated in, they lost. And we will have a separate video about that. But right now, these whole recruiting stories to bring people to war with Ukraine, they are all based on the narrative that this is the fight with Nazi and we have already done this, so we will repeat what our grandfathers have done. By the way, interesting matter that I think many people abroad do not understand is that in Soviet Union, the Second World War was not perceived as a war from 1939 till 1945. It only started in 1941 when Russia was attacked by Nazi Germany. Beforehand, it was something else. It was nobody's problem. It was like some European battles, and then it became a national patriotic war. And this is why this part is very, very important, and it talks about might of Russia, it talks about a great past, and that everybody's family, because everybody's family basically participated in World War II, this is why this narrative touches every single person. This is why it's so easy for Putin to sell this like restoration of the might to Russian people. And so, usually the parade was a show-off of the might of Russia. They would invest a lot into parading their different sorts of weapons on the Red Square. This year, they announced that there will be no military equipment. Why? Does anybody have any idea why would that be? But there would be some celebrations. And they said that they want to have a ceasefire, so there will be no interruptions. Given that Russia attacked using ballistic missiles more residential areas just today and yesterday, I don't think that even if Ukraine officially agrees to that, it would work. And a main question remains the same, like what would happen if Russia will be attacking us on that day, saying that it's not them. Unfortunately, our American partners are right now concentrated on Iran. That would be an amazing point for the US administration to step in and perhaps guarantee that this ceasefire will work or act. But because the parade is planned for May 9th, I don't think that there would be enough time. So we'll see how things will go there. We'll see what can Russia openly show as the representation of their might for this military parade. And of course, we'll be watching closely. So moving forward, President Trump threatened to pull off US troops from Europe, and everybody is in Europe is obviously very frustrated about this. So I don't know if the US administration right now realizes the influence these statements make on the trust and on the predictability of the United States as a defense partner, as honestly any sort of partner. Because if that wouldn't happen, if these statements by President Trump were just a threat, it's bad on one case. If that would happen, it's bad on another side, but it's still just a bad idea. The might of the United States and the influence of the United States is not only created by the presence of the US forces, but it's also created by the US predictability, the support of US business, the support of US diplomats, support of US ability to commit to their promises. This is all that builds the reputation of the United States. And I think right now, with every suggestion, it's going down and down, and it will be very hard to restore. Here in Ukraine, I think more and more people start realizing that we should be looking for closer collaboration with European countries, and we should think about US support in the future as good to have, that we would really want it, but if it wouldn't happen, we will be able to survive by ourselves. I don't think that we're there yet. I don't think we'll be there in a couple of years, but more and more European partners start realizing that they have to be independent in this matter. And once they realize that, once they start really, for real, investing in their own security and defense, they start demanding some seats at the table. And we have heard this from Chancellor Merz, we have heard it from Macron, we have heard this from Ursula von der Leyen, and just recently President Zelensky said as well that while the negotiations with the US side are being stalled, so we want to have the negotiations about future of Ukraine and the end of the war, having Europeans at the table. We will see. Right now, there is not one leader, a single leader who can be representing whole Europe, but I think there could be some solution in the future on that matter. And Germany is definitely someone who is investing a lot in Ukraine's defense, in their own defense, and is emerging as, again, leader of Europe in terms of security. We will see where it goes. Obviously, there is lots of support in Ukraine for that, but what we see by the actions from the United States, it seems that this track is something that they wanted. To have Europe more responsible, to be more responsible for their own security and defense. Here you go. But it's still unclear the role of the United States generally in the world's security. It doesn't look very good how things went in Iran. And I don't think that there is anybody else who wants to appear at the situation when one of your allies starts a war that's very hard to finish. So we will move on, and there will be many more news in terms of security collaboration between Ukraine and European countries. It's very unfortunate that the lack of influence and leadership of the United States will decrease these potential collaborations with the US companies. But perhaps things will change for the good. Thank you so much, and glory to Ukraine.